Good afternoon, I'm Brian Reagan. This is
Tyler Kelly.
We welcome you to 1 Chronicles 14, 8 through 17 for our midday meditation. Tyler?
Now when the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over all Israel, all the Philistines went up to search for David. And David heard of it and went out against them. Then the Philistines went and made a raid on the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of God, saying, Shall I go up against the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hand? The Lord said to him, Go up, for I will deliver them into your hand. So they went up to Baal-perazim, and David defeated them there. Then David said, God has broken through my enemies by my hand like a breakthrough of water. Therefore they called the name of that place Baal-perazim. And when they left their gods there, David gave a commandment, and they were burned with fire. And the Philistines once again made a raid on the valley. Therefore David inquired again of God, and God said to him, You shall not go up after them, circle around them, and come upon them in front of the mulberry trees. And it shall be when you hear a sound of marching in the tops of the mulberry trees, then you shall go out to battle, for God has gone out before you to strike the camp of the Philistines. So David did as God commanded him, and they drove back the army of the Philistines from Gibeon as far as Gezer. And the fame of David went out into all the lands, and the Lord brought the fear of him upon all nations.
All right, so this is an interesting play out of faith and works, and you get David seeking the wisdom and the guidance of God, and God gives it to him. And so he has his first victory. And David does something here that a lot of people miss when they're trying to walk by faith. David gets clarity on the first situation. He does not step on the second situation till he ascertains what the will of the Lord is. And the Lord then gives a different direction on the second one than he gave on the first one. And you say, what would have happened to David had he not asked the Lord? I don't know. Don't know. But the Lord's plan was to set the situation up. But David had to place himself in position. And once David was in position, the Lord went out first. We touched on this a little bit Sunday before last, talking about the angels and the army of the Lord and how all these different things happen in the earth. David had to be in position. Then the Lord went out. Then David went. But the Lord had already gone before him. This is... What is David doing by faith here? What was it that the Lord said in Deuteronomy about the Lord shall fight for you? Do you remember that? And then Joshua. Joshua says, if we do this, the Lord will fight for us. Jehoshaphat, later on, will say, God, you said you'd fight for us. That's what David's doing. But here's the funny thing. God can do X, Y, Z for us, but we have to be in position when he does it in order to reap the benefit. And that is the interesting thing with faith. If you believe what God says, you have to put yourself in the position so that when God does his part, you're able to receive it. Some other thoughts on this one, my brother?
No, sir.
All right, with that, I'm Brian Reagan. This is
Tyler Kelly.
Lord willing, we'll see you tonight.